That's a
fun.
background. That's a
Thank you.
background. I like that.
Thank you. Yeah, years of wasting money. Can you talk a bit about the development of this project and how the idea came to be?
Absolutely. Last year, Christmas, was watching a Yule log video, and it just came to me, this image of, you're looking at this tight shot of a fireplace, and I just imagined you see legs walking across in front, and that's all you would see is legs because it's so tight, and hearing dialogue. And I'm like, oh yeah, that would be interesting. Like if you stay on this log and then this story starts happening, that's kind of an interesting sort of sneak attack of you think you're watching one thing and it becomes something else. So I'm like, that's something. So I pitched it to Adult Swim as a 4 a.m. thing. And they're like, yeah, this could be a 4 a.m. thing, like Too Many Cooks. And then I was like, but how would you feel if I made it a movie? And they're like, okay, if you can make it for about the same amount of money, we're open to that. So it went off from there.
Yeah, I was curious about that. You know, it's noticeably longer than like Too Many Cooks, Final Deployment 4. Was it always intended to get to that point, or was that something, I mean, you kind of touched on it, was that something you had to ultimately sell to them, like this will work?
That's a great question. Number one is very early, because I've always wanted to make a movie. It's been a lifelong dream of mine. So I'm like, maybe this is the chance. And as far as selling them that it'll work, I think they were open to the experiment. And personally, I wasn't sure it was going to work. I was terrified. I'm like, will this work? I don't know. So, yes. So, but luckily it's a low enough budget that they allow me to try it. And then when they read the script, they bought into it.
Yeah, you know, while your projects, you know, they're seemingly original ideas, is there anything in particular that inspired this project? I know this has a bunch of different like horror elements to it, like it has a little bit of like some Sam Raimi nods, if you will. I'm just kind of curious as to what maybe you know, was pushing you in the writing room.
I think that that's a great question. I definitely am a fan of Sam Raimi. But I think that a lot of times I don't think specifically of, oh, I love this movie, I should put an element like that in there. It's more like you've loved these things so much, they're in your soul. So when it's like ground up in the soil. So when a tree grows, it's going to have all those minerals in it of your idea. So, I mean, David Lynch is an influence for sure, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre and so on. But yeah, Sam Raimi for sure. Yes. And also I liked using tropes. So if you're going to be a cabin, you know, you're going to have a group of people coming, and maybe instead of campers, make them podcasters. But yeah, a little Friday the 13th or Halloween, you know, etc.
Yeah, you know, as a viewer, it seems that much more odd or jarring sometimes when the cast is relatively unfamiliar. It's something that I actually really like. It makes the films feel very personal to me. And do you guys, and you know, you mentioned the budget, but do you guys intentionally cast you know, relatively unknowns?
That's a good question. I really, well, it kind of, I did this show for Adult Swim called Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell, and we cast people like Matt Servito, who was the FBI agent on Sopranos, like on Banshee, and like known actors. But we would also fill it out with local people called day players, like if you need a waiter or something. And we really liked those actors. They were great. So we started using local talent more and more. And yeah, so with this one, I felt like it probably was practically necessary, but also it feels right for a something to feel like an indie horror movie. I mean, even Halloween, Jennifer Jason Leigh at that time was an unknown, I believe.
Yeah.
Like, she wasn't known. So yes. Yes. And we were thinking of putting in a celebrity in one role, just as a little something.
Mhm.
But our schedule was so compressed that by the time we were starting to throw offers out, there just wasn't time to set that up.
Yeah, the reason I ask is because Adam Green has this movie called Digging Up the Marrow, and it's kind of like a fake documentary, and he intentionally cast people that like he's plays himself in the film, but like he intentionally casts other people that maybe mainstream audiences wouldn't be aware of, because that way it almost gives you the idea that it could be real if you're just like
Yes.
if you just turn it on and it just happens to be on. But you mentioned maybe a celebrity cameo. I did notice William Tokarski, and so I was wondering, is there maybe any other cameos that I missed throughout the project?
Not really. I mean, some of those actors I've worked with before, but that's probably the main one, I think. Yes.
And I watched one of your other interviews, and it was like mostly kind of digging into Too Many Cooks, and you talked about how there was a lot of stuff that maybe evolved or kind of didn't happen. Was there any ideas that didn't make the final cut of this project that you're disappointed that didn't show up on screen ultimately?
Not really. This was so fast that I wrote it and we pretty much did it. I think there was a short period where I wished I had written maybe some more time zones, like the 1900s or, but it feels about right. I think, yeah, I don't. Oh, and then one small detail, which maybe is a spoiler, but doesn't matter. I'll be vague enough. Is I wanted in the script, when there's a scene at the fridge, I wanted them to pull the fridge down onto the ground, face down. But that just wasn't. We were renting that place, so it was like, we're going to damage the fridge. There's no room. It's locked in there with a cabinet. So it's like, okay, fine. I won't.
I like it. Thank you for sharing that, by the way. This project, like many of your others, they do have horror elements, which you and I touched on. A lot of comedy writers seem to be making that jump, to mainstream horror. We have, Jordan Peele, obviously, and now we have Zach Krager with Barbarian, which if you haven't seen that fantastic film.
No, it is great. Yes.
You mentioned you wanted to maybe, your lifelong dream or your dream is to do a feature. Would it be a horror feature, or would it be something kind of oddball commentary pushing the envelope like this?
Well, I feel great. I feel like this is a movie, and I'm super excited. I feel like this is my first movie, and then the second movie probably will continue to be oddball, maybe more science fiction. I'm not sure, but yes. But yeah, you're right. What I think what you're asking is, would I do a movie that's a little more straight? Maybe I'm interested in trying it. I may not be able to. I might always start zagging on it, but I am interested in that. Yeah. People are always interested in trying stuff that might be, they haven't done or is different than their normal voice, So yes.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I dug into your catalog quite a bit after watching this. And I mean, most of it I had seen. So, I mean, it would be kind of cool to this is just me as a fan, I would like to see you try something maybe you aren't comfortable with, because it would be a challenge. But a lot of times when you put yourself in those positions, that's when the most creative things happen.
Yes.
So, for what it's worth.
To be fair, I was very uncomfortable making this movie. Like, I was nervous as hell.
Yeah.
So yes, but I think that's a good place to be, is to, in the next project as well, being uncomfortable.
Gotcha.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and
Challenging.
yeah, exactly. And like I said, I dug into your catalog a little bit. I also noticed you had a thanks credit on Masking Threshold. Um, are you familiar with that film, or is there a connection to that project?
Masking Threshold?
Yes.
No, I don't know it. I'm writing it down. Tell me about it.
It's probably one of those films where it's like the less you know, the better.
Oh, okay.
It's definitely a artsy piece, but it's something I saw at Fantastic Fest last year, and it just got its digital release I think this March.
Oh, I'm
And
intrigued. I'll check it out. I'll
it
go in
is
blind.
some of the best cinematography that I've ever seen. Yeah, and yet your name is attached, so I mean, it
That's
definitely
very flattering.
yeah. um and I want to jump to something else, just because I have a very limited amount of time, and I need to take the opportunity to say that I discovered Stroker and Hoop a bit too late, and I was able to catch the reruns, and I was in love with that show. Like, I would literally record it off TV, and it's on, it's on Tubi. You can catch it on streaming, but I know there's also a German DVD release. Is there any chances of an American official DVD release?
Hey, first of all, do you notice this poster right here?
Yeah, I noticed
Okay.
it right away. Like,
Uh,
I love that show, man. It's so clever.
I thank you very much. I also have a German friend, and I had him buy the German DVD, which took about $100 to ship here.
Yeah.
I'm glad to get, and I love hearing it in German. I doubt it, but never say never. I love physical media. I would love for all my work to be available on physical media, including this movie. So yeah, knock on wood. Make it happen. If any of your fans are work at boutique Blu-ray agencies, please reach out.
Yeah, I can definitely, like, if I can definitely make that happen. I know a handful of people that actually do that, and I can get them in touch with you. I checked out your website as well, and it's like, do not ask me how to make it, which I very much appreciated it. You're like, I'm trying to do my own shit, leave me alone. But yeah, I guess to wrap up, thank you for touching on Stroker and Hoop. I love the fact that you even gave an update through Adult Swim, like, as to what your future plans were with it when it found its unfortunate ending. I wish more people would do that when shows would not pan out. But is there anything that you want to mention about Yule Log before we let you go?
Well, it's sort of like Masking Threshold. I kind of want people to go in blind, but give it a chance, and hopefully you like it.
Well, I mean, I went into it blind. I mean, I had to, and obviously I love Too Many Cooks. I can't tell you how many people, like, I work in production. We still quote that at work. So I mean, it's just one of those things. And Casper Kelly here at CineDump, we let the doers know how they're doing, and you, sir, you're doing just fine. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for making awesome and funny and just weird stuff that keeps me going. And I have to show you one thing real quick.
Oh yeah, Cheddar Goblin. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
My wife got me this for Christmas, I believe last year or the year before. And yeah, I love that segment. So thank you for that as well.
I'm going to sneak a little Easter egg to you then. If you watch when you watch the movie again, look at the brand name of the pimento cheese.
Oh, there we go. All right. Well, you heard it here, pros, folks. Thank you, Casper. I really appreciate your time, and we'll be keeping an eye out for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jesse.